Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm at the Alton Towers Resort for Parkology episode 2. What? Don't zoom, what are you doing? Don't zoom out. No, back on the face. Oh yeah. Sorry about that. That was for another video that I'm working on. The UK is home to some incredible theme parks, but let's be real, not all of them are worth your time. Today, I'm ranking every major UK theme park from worst to best. And I think you'll be shocked by a few of my controversial opinions. My opinion will include looking at ride quality, theming, operations, overall park presentation, if there's any extras at the park, alongside ticket prices. Now, I won't cover each of these in each breakdown of the park, but it will be taken overall into the consideration of the ranking. So I just want to be clear, just because this park is in 11th place, right, it is not an awful park. None of these parks are bad parks, and I'm very grateful to have all of these parks across the UK in general anyways. However, this is just my honest opinion and ranking on these parks. So if I was to visit a park, that would be the most likely park that I'd visit or recommend to a friend, and then that would be the least likely park that I would visit. However, I understand that each park caters to different experiences and needs that guests want. For example, I'm at... Look at that! There's a cat! Oh... Sorry, before I got distracted by a cat. So we're starting off in 11th place, or as what I like to call this, an honourable mention. I feel like this park deserved a mention as it's quite centralised in its location and it's got a fairly thrilling coaster in it as well. So we are talking about Pleasurewood Hills. It's not a massive park and it's mainly aimed at your family audiences, but it's got an insane Vekoma boomerang in there, which opened up in 2007. I mean, this coaster is stupidly intense, and I think it pulls something like over 4.5 Gs, which is crazy for a little theme park like Pleasurewood Hills. And there is 4 coasters at this park, which obviously is good. I mean, 3 of them are aimed at your children, whereas 1 of them is aimed at the thrill audience. I'm not too sure why they've actually still got this ride in the park, but they have. And only £27 a ticket, and that is a ticket where you can visit whenever you want. I think it's called a flexi date ticket, which is really good price, I think, and it's quite affordable. And with the price of that ticket, it's not going to leave your wallet screaming at all, like your spine after you come off of Wipeout. Oh. Coming into the actual rankings, this is 10th place, which is Fantasy Island. Now, Fantasy Island is one of my favourite theme parks in the UK, and that's purely for the nostalgia. It was one of the first theme parks I actually visited in my life. I used to go there all the time as a kid. Visiting Ingemel's and staying in a caravan was pretty much the highlight of my year. So Fantasy Island opened up in 1995, right? And it started strong with some massive investments for the first 15 years of the park being there. I mean, they've got this giant indoor pyramid, which is really heavily themed inside with a couple of really good rides in there. And then they've got these 2 giant Vekoma coasters outside, which you've got Millennium and you've got Odyssey. Now, Odyssey is actually one of the tallest inverts in the world, and it was actually originally planned to be a hell of a lot taller, but I think due to budgeting reasons, they couldn't actually afford to do it in the end. However, in recent years, the park has seen a lack of investments. It's safe to say that the money seems to have got lost on the ghost train. And that says a lot, because I don't even think there's a ghost train there. Now, new ride investments haven't been non-existent, but a lot of the time they are just your pop-up fairground rides, which is obviously not an issue, especially when they get their indoor Wild Mouse spinning coaster, which is absolutely insane. But as I said, it's still not a bad park to visit, with the ticket prices only being $16.65. Now, bear in mind that a lot of these ticket prices are for the off-peak season. And I think that with what the park offers, paying that sort of price for a ticket is really good. I mean, Odyssey, again, going back to your sort of Wipeout coaster at Pleasurewood Hills, offers some insane G-forces on it. And I mean, whilst it is a head rattler, what it probably belongs in the worst coasters in the UK. Check out that video if you haven't, just here somewhere, or there maybe. I also think the park has a really good balance, offering some unique thrill attractions to a wide variety of family rides. With that ticket price in mind, your wallet gets to enjoy the nice time that you have there. But you know, thinking about it, maybe we should just get rid of all these old school Vekoma SLCs, because they're not very nice, are they? Coming up in 9th place is actually Flamingo Land. Now, I recently visited Flamingo Land last year, and it's based up in Yorkshire, so it's quite a drive for the majority of the population. Flamingo Land technically ties for the most coasters in the UK with a whopping 10, which is massive. But when half of them are meh and the other half ride like hero, I mean, do you really count them as coasters? Yes, it does have a zoo, which has placed it higher than what it should have been. But between its remote location up in Yorkshire and the ticket entry price, it just doesn't stack up. That said, if you visit on a quiet off-peak day, you can clear the park in half a day. When I visited last year in May, I've genuinely managed to get all of my coaster creds in, all of the park rides done, and the zoo in just half a day, which is insane. So it's a great stop for you guys that are counting your credits. And hey, at $17.95 for an off-peak ticket price, that's not bad. Although you're going to be spending a lot more after riding Hero all day on those therapy bills. However, after checking the website, I could only see 8 coasters advertised. Now, I'm not sure why that is. If anybody does know, then please do comment down below, because I'm absolutely clueless. Now, coming up in 8th place, we have Drayton Manor. Drayton Manor used to be elite. It was genuinely top tier. When I visited as a kid, Apocalypse was insane. That it was a massive drop tower that was there. Mara X-Car Coaster G-Force as well that was there, which I unfortunately never got to ride on, but from watching these POVs, it looked insane. And to get rid of it seems almost like the wrong decision to make. And they also introduced the first UK's stand-up coaster. And now it's basically a family day out with a side of nostalgia. I mean, they still have some really unique rides there. For example, the Wave is still there. However, now it's sit-down cars, which is a massive improvement because I must admit the stand-up cars themselves were becoming extremely rough to ride almost. And they have got Stormforce 10 as well, which is an insane water ride that they have there. With the recent years, they've invested in quite a lot of new rides as well. We've seen Gold Rush open up last year at Drayton Manor. Now, I understand that they're shifting towards a more family-focused park. However, that just kind of eliminates the need for us coaster enthusiasts to even bother visiting a park like this now. And it has a great location. It's Midlands based, so it's pretty much accessible from everywhere. But as I said, for thrill seekers, it's like watching your favourite metal rock band turn into a K-pop band almost. That being said, they do have an amazing zoo, which obviously adds to the value of the park ticket. At $19.90 a ticket, it's not bad value, but let's be real, if you remember the old Drayton Manor, it's hard not to feel just a little bit heartbroken. Kicking off the mid-tier parks, we have Oakwood theme park over in Wales. A park that's been around since 1987. It almost feels like it's still living in 1987 with the coasters they have there. While it does have some really solid coasters in its lineup, it's mostly made up of outdated rides. Basically, it's kind of just a theme park that's been forgotten in time. Left to rot away. I'm joking, it's nowhere near that bad. It's actually quite a cool park. That said, there's one reason to make the trek all the way over to Wales, and that's Mega freaking Phobia, bro. Mega Phobia is insane. It's such a good woody, seriously. It's hands down the best wooden coaster in the UK, and it's basically the only thing that stops Oakwood from being almost completely irrelevant and not even making it onto this list. Oh, and as far for ticket price, I couldn't even find one on the website. Now, I suppose that's because they're not open for the new season, but that kind of tells you a lot. If I don't know how much it's going to cost for a ticket in May or June time, why am I going to bother visiting there? I can't even pre-plan the costs. I mean, great. Oakwood, do better. In 6th position, we have Legoland Windsor. Legoland Windsor is in a prime location and has solid investment. Well, it's Lego, so it naturally pulls in quite a big crowd. But for me, it just lacks that thrill factor. That being said, if you're a family with young children, it is honestly worth visiting. I mean, it's literally Lego. What could you go wrong with? It's Lego. This park is actually fantastic, offering unique attractions that you won't find anywhere else because, let's be honest, where else can you ride a fire truck or fly on a dragon, drive a car and get a driving license? All before lunch too. They've continued to expand with new attractions in the park, which introduced Flight of the Skyline, the UK's first flying theatre. But let's be real, starting at £29 per person, you just know you've stepped into Merlin's territory. Just around the corner from Legoland, we've got Chessington World of Adventures, a park I genuinely love, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or should I say the IPs in the room? Chessington has been shifting away from original concepts over the past couple of years, and that's seen with the retheme of Bubble Works going to the Gruffalo ride. The investment of Project Amazon, which delivered us the World of Jumanji area. For that reason alone, it's why I've ranked it a hell of a lot lower than what I believe it actually could be. I mean, that being said, it still has a great lineup. Even with the IP-heavy additions, take Manjul Mayhem for example, it's a solid wing coaster and it's perfect for those easing into the thrills. With its technically free inversions, if you count the backwards spike almost. They've been investing heavily into all their expansions. As I said, with Manjul Mayhem and that whole World of Jumanji area, it's such a good investment. And in the future, they're actually investing in a Minecraft-themed land, and they're completely redoing their Mexicana area, removing Scorpion Express. And let's not forget the zoo. There's plenty of animals to see here and a lot of VIP experiences as well. It's a proper addition to the park itself's experience. And I mean, Chessington have got some massive hotels as well. So it's really good for a long weekend. Of course, being a Merlin park, tickets do start at £29. So you know you're paying for that premium price tag. In fourth place, we have Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Yes, Amanda Thompson, OBE. The Wicked Witch of the North almost, ruling over Blackpool Pleasure Beach and refusing to let go of its history for whatever reason. Yet, somehow it still ranks 4th in my UK park ratings. While it might feel like a theme park museum at times, there's no denying what keeps it relevant. Its beats like, oh! While it might feel like a theme park museum at times, there's no denying what keeps it relevant. The beachside location, the legendary lineup, and the sheer chaotic energy of Blackpool itself. I mean, every time I visit, something weird and crazy happen. From the silky smooth launches of Icon, to the absolute soaking you'll get on the recently revamped Valhalla, to the pure British absurdity of Wallace and Gromit's Thrillomatic, the park offers a unique mix of old and new that somehow works. Of course, £34 a ticket. It's one of the nicer and pricier UK theme parks. But at least you're paying towards maintaining the history. Coming up in third place, we have Paulton's Park. Paulton's Park has come a really long way in the recent years, and it's one of the main reasons that it's actually rated third in the whole of the UK right now, which is massive. The game changer? Tornado Springs. Or should I just say, Paulton's theming over the last couple of years. Tornado Springs opened back in 2021, bringing with it a massively themed area and the UK's first max spinning coaster, Storm Chaser. And if that wasn't enough, they threw in a massive gyro swing, Cyclonator, which is arguably one of the UK's best flat rides. I mean, this gives you some serious G's, while questioning why you even got on the ride in the first place. I mean, this park literally blows me away. At £45 a ticket though, it's clear to see that you are paying for a premium. But I think that you get this premium. Unlike some parks, Merlin, it seems like they actually heavily reinvest this money that you pay for a ticket back into the park. Alongside all of that, Paulton's Park is constantly getting new investments. I mean, look at Splash Lagoon, the kids' water ride which opened up last year. I mean, the theming for that is absolutely insane. There's no need for it to be that good, but they've just done it anyways. And they're not slowing down either, with their new Ghostly Manor, which is an indoor dark ride set to open up in May this year. I wonder which manor will be better. I'm looking at you, Towers. Anyways, moving on to the Battle of the Big Dogs. Now, I think everybody expected Alton Towers and Thorpe Park to be in the number 1 spot or the number 2 spot. And I think it's really, really close, especially after the year that Alton Towers had last year and the year that Thorpe Park had. I think Thorpe Park had a really strong year last year, whereas Alton Towers was a bit more lackluster. However, things seem to be going in somewhat of the right direction this year for, well, both parks. As I said, picking a true winner here is really, really tough. Despite Thorpe Park's centralised location and its easy access and its massive investment into Hyperia last year, I still think Alton Towers takes that top spot. There's a varying few reasons to why that takes the top spot. It's got a more balanced ride lineup, in my opinion, aimed both at families and thrill seekers, and I feel Thorpe Park is aimed at more so just your thrill seekers. It has a more unique setting. I mean, the gardens, the towers itself, more events throughout the year, and Alton Towers are usually opened up longer. I know that that is because they can cater to the younger audiences, so for example, they were open the February half term for Pirates Takeover, but I still think that that's more than what Thorpe Park is doing. I can't believe I even have to say this, but fireworks. That is an instant win. The fireworks last year were absolutely amazing at Alton Towers, and every year they constantly deliver on this world-class event. Now, don't get me wrong, Thorpe Park is stacked. I mean, it's got Stealth, it's got Hyperia, Colossus, the Flying Fish. But for me, Alton Towers just has that extra oomph. Now, we're going to be taking a look at some of your guys' opinions. I asked over on Instagram for your guys' worst or favourite parks and a couple of reasons why. So join me as we break down / roast these opinions. Now, to save me a bit of time with these, I'm just going to quick fire all of them as I did in my last video. So Oscar M says that Chessington is overrated. Now, I sort of disagree with this opinion, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Now, an opinion that I do agree with that Oscar said is Paulton's is so underrated, which I completely agree with. I think that Paulton's is one of the best parks in the UK and it does not get spoke about enough. Josh Warden says least favourite out of the big parks is Blackpool Pleasure Beach as it needs a proper good clean-up. Now, I do agree with that. They could start by cleaning up some of the old, disgusting wooden coasters. And his favourite park is Alton Towers. Alton Towers is 100% the best theme park in the UK at this point of time. Rollercoaster Guy says because of how they've used the tree lines to their advantage, which I agree with this, it's led to some really unique attractions coming to the park, and all of their coasters are different to your normal coaster, which is awesome. EJ Williams says their favourite park is Alton Towers, which is very basic. I don't think it's basic, bro. I think it's pretty good. And their least favourite is Drayton Manor, which I don't necessarily think it's my least favourite park, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good as what it used to be. C. Clawson says their favourite park is Towers right now, but their throughput is horrific. Now, I do agree with this, and I think they could really do with investing in some more flat rides. Obviously, the reopening of Hex and hopefully the Sky Ride for this season, alongside the opening of Toxicator. Kiefer Coasters says Chessington, but she doesn't like the fact that they're going down the IP route. And I kind of mentioned on this in this video, and I completely agree with that. Theme Park Piers says his favourite park is Thorpe Park. I also agree, especially when it comes to Fright Night's time of year. Sophia says that her favourite park is Chessington, which I completely expected. I can, yet again, agree with this as well. Lewis says his favourite park is Towers, and that's because it's his home park as well. And he would also like to see more flat rides added to the park. Now, since I'm already sat here, I may as well outro the video. So thanks a lot for watching the video, guys. I really do appreciate the support over the last couple of videos that I've made. If you can, leave a like on the video and subscribe, then please do. And if you think my opinions are wrong or you don't necessarily agree with them, then definitely leave a comment down below. All opinions are correct, other than the fact that REIT is a good coaster. If that's your opinion, it's wrong. Anyways, I've got something to go and work on. Let me just call A7 Coasters real quick. A7, A7.